Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Summer of Me. It is a gloomy Thursday, and it took me long enough, but here I am showing up in sweats on the podcast. So hope you enjoyed sweaters for the first couple episodes, but this may be the new me. I'm feeling very emotional today. The kids had like spirit day at school, and I drove off crying after I dropped them off because they were just so cute and precious. And I certainly don't always feel that way, but something in me today, the love of Jesus, I don't know what it was, but I just feel a little emo. So I'm not going to cry on this episode, but if I do shed a tear, it's simply out of TOJ is what we call those, tears of joy. Today's episode is called The Tea and Why Not to Spill It. Might be a controversial opinion, but piping hot tea is detrimental in so many ways. And we all love to hear it and we all love to dish it, but hindsight's 2020 and the tea is not, it's not a good thing, you guys. For those of you who don't know what the tea is and you're like, the hell is this woman talking about? The tea is gossip and drama and just like we love to talk about other people and we love to talk about ourselves. Maybe it's like you've heard it like trauma dumping. Through my experience in these past few years, have spilled a lot of tea. I feel like it only got me into some hot spots and some trouble. And I'm going to talk all about today, like why we're compelled to share it. And especially in situations where you're going through like a relationship issue, separation, divorce, just like marital drama, which I think everybody and their mother has. The tea is just like not it. Also, if you are up for a drinking game, you can drink every time I say the tea and you will be absolutely colossally damaged at the end of this episode. Because I'm probably going to say it way too many times. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to do my best not to bounce around here because I feel like I have so many things to say about this. I'm actually very passionate about this topic. I know the like desire. Okay. So first of all, rewind. When we're going through something. So I was going through obviously, marital issues and then a separation, ended up being a divorce. And now like single motherhood and co-parenting and dating and all of these things. And everybody and their mother wants to hear about your life. I can assure you, I am the hot topic at a dinner party. I'm present, mind you. I'm not saying like the gossip, although I'm sure that exists too, but like dinner party, school function, anywhere that there are people that are happily married, whether they are actually happily married or my kids do this all the time, happily married. Sure, mom, whatever. People want to hear about the drama in your life because it's exciting and it's different and it's fun. And especially like if you are dating and you are a mom, I mean, these women go wild and out. They want to hear the nitty gritty. I mean, these women are like feral animals. Be prepared if you're in this situation or if you're already in it or if you're about to enter it or whatever. People are going to ask questions. They're going to want to know everything because it's something different than, and I think a lot of people live vicariously, which sounds so fucking twisted, but it's so true. People live vicariously through these situations because a lot of people are, unhappy in whatever their situation is, and they're not willing to do something about it for a variety of reasons, whether that's that they are financially not able to, a lot of people are like, oh, I'd love to leave my marriage, but like I don't have a job, I haven't worked, I have no money, like I'm financially tied to him. Totally understand that. People are like, my kids are too little, or like, oh, I'm unhappy, but like, there's nothing better out there. But like, also tell me what the D is like. Limp. That's what the D is like. Just kidding. But anyways, that's a whole nother episode. Anyways, so people are going to want to know everything. And there is a wild temptation to share on so many levels. So we're going to kind of get into it. First of all, when you are in a group of friends or in any scenario and you simply say something about like marriage troubles or whatever, people are going to say like, oh, me too. Or they're going to ask like what the scenario is. If you are in a separation, they want to know like, what did he do? What happened? What's the drama? Like, where are you living? Are you dating? Oh my God, tell me everything. If you are in the middle of a divorce, like, oh my God, is he taking you to court? Is he being nasty? Is this happening? Are you going here? Like, oh my God, did he cheat on you? Did he drink too? Like the questions that I received were, I understand why people ask. People are just like genuinely care to know, like they're nosy. The temptation to share, you would not believe the things that like I chose to say in confidence that got back to my husband at the time or my, family or guys that I had dated, or, it is just like wild. So I want to preface this episode by saying this. There are people in your life that you absolutely need to talk to about what you're going through, whether it's separation or divorce or just marital troubles. Or just like, hey, I'm like really happily married, but like, who the hell am I? Like, I'm really in a hard place. I'm struggling. There are absolutely people in your life that you should be able to talk to and tell. And my therapist and I just actually spoke about this last week, and she made a really good point. And she was like, there's something called circles of intimacy. And imagine it like the Target logo, except for like a little bit bigger. Sweet heavenly Target logo. Imagine it like a Target, and in the middle, in the very first circle is you. And the goal is that you are in that circle with your higher power, whether that's God or like Ryan Gosling, whoever that power may be. That is you in that circle. And the second circle is your spouse and your kids together, basically. And then the third and fourth circle are these people that you might be sharing these things with. These are people who are reciprocal, intimate relationships. So friends or maybe your sister or something like that. And the relationship with them is reciprocal, meaning like you're being vulnerable with them and they're reciprocating that. They're being vulnerable with you. So you both have skin in the game, so to speak. They're in the arena with you. And then outwards of that circle, like your fifth and sixth circle are people who like you may know or whatever, but like those are the people that really want the tea. Like they don't have stake in your game, but they do have like they just want to know what's going on, right? They want to know the who's who. What does the mom from Mean Girls say? What's the 411? Tell me, honey, what's the 411? Knowing who those people are in your life, establishing that relationship with them, establishing that trust with them, those relationships are okay to tell them like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. One of the mistakes that I made, even in those relationships, in like telling everybody, like verbal vomiting, basically all over everybody, trauma dumping, whatever you want to call it, is setting the expectation. I'm going to tell you these things. I need you to withhold judgment and I need you to listen, because here's the other thing that happens. Those people feel really connected and close, and they might know your situation really closely. They might know your husband. They might know, what's going on in your family or whatever drama you're going through. And then they're going to tell you everything that they think. And then if you decide to change your mind, you're like, actually, I love my husband and I'm going to make this work with him and I'm going to figure this out. Then you already know that whoever thinks your husband is a total nerd bomb or a weirdo or a fucking creep. And then you're going to be like always having that in the back of your head and thinking, oh shit, but so-and-so doesn't actually like them. But I'm deciding to stay with them. And it gives you all this like internal tension and undue confusion that you don't need. You're already really fucking confused, I promise. I have never felt more confused and unaligned in my life than when I was going through marital troubles and a separation and a divorce. So, number one, have those people know who they are, but establish with them your boundaries and establish with them their trust. I'm telling you these things in confidence. I need you to keep this between you and I. I know it's tempting. No matter who you are, I don't care if you're a fucking vault. It is so tempting to be like, sorry, you're not going to believe this. We all do it, right? Like there's like the TikTok memes that are like people telling me a secret, me saying I won't tell anybody, and then they're like skipping off to their best friend. I get it. I fully understand it, but there is a real trust that has to be established there. Here is why, beyond that, like it is so dangerous and detrimental to spill any sort of tea about what's going on in your life, regardless of the temptation. Number one, it absolutely blows up your better judgment. It colludes your vision. It colludes your clarity. It is like, you will hear so many opinions from people. People will be like, oh my God, I always thought he was weird. Yeah, I'm so glad you're saying this. I just was like, how could she even be married to him? I can't tell you how many times I heard that. Or I heard like, oh my God, like he's such a good guy. He's always been nothing but kind to me. Like what, I would have never thought this. And then you're like, well, maybe he is a good guy. Shit. And then you hear people like, even like family members who will say things like, holy shit, why didn't you tell us? Oh my God, yeah, like this. Oh, I did. And they validate things for you. And then you're like, oh my God, I am right. And you go back and forth. And then all of a sudden in your brain, you can't even hear yourself think because you're hearing everything that everybody else in your life has to say. And the inkling, the ounce of clarity that you had is literally gone. It is out the window. And now you are worried about everybody else's opinions. Not only are you worried about it, but you're also thinking about it and being like, oh yeah, that person had a good point. And this person had a good point. There was a point in my separation that I was literally calling probably 5 people a day. And it might've been like at some point the same 5 people or whatever. And I was like, I just need like some clarity. I need somebody to tell me what to do. And at the end of the day, I would like lay in my bed and stare at the ceiling and I'd be like, well, all these people got to fucking tell me everything all day. And now I don't even know what I'm thinking, number one. But number two, holy shit, all these people thought this stuff about me and didn't tell me. Like, how embarrassing. So you have this whole nother level of just confusion and like your judgment is all over the place. Next thing is this. Why are you sharing all of this? Why are you telling everybody this? Are you doing it because you want confirmation bias? Confirmation bias is basically you telling a story and you're telling somebody and you want them to say like, oh yeah, girl, he is this, or you are so right, or whatever. My friends totally talk like that. Yeah, squeak. No, but that is like you telling a story, knowing that you're framing it in a certain way subconsciously, that you're framing it in a certain way to get a confirmation that like, oh yeah, totally. Are you doing it just for validation? Do you need somebody to just tell you, yeah, it's okay, give you permission? We have to get internal permission from ourselves to feel the things we're feeling, to do the things that we know in our gut, in our like deep down in the cavity of our body that we know we need to do. I assure you how like if you like have this fire and you have this feeling of like, I need to do something different, or this is not right, or I really need to step up and communicate this and say like, hey, this is an issue for me and it's becoming an issue in our marriage that like is pushing me to, you know, think about things that I don't really want to be thinking about, AKA separating. So like, you know, those conversations need to happen. When you're seeking all of that validation from other people, you're not only telling yourself, hey, I can't trust myself, I need all these other people to tell me what to do, but you're paving the way for your future, which is like, I can't make any independent decisions. I need all of these people to validate my feelings, and so I can make these. This is a real like growth thing and temptation, and something that I personally like still struggle with, is feeling like I need other people to tell me it's okay. I think the other thing when you spill the tea or you're oversharing is you have to question like, is this a coping mechanism so that I don't have to think or process? Is this me being able to numb out and just tell everybody else and have them tell me what to do? Is this like me not being willing to and eager to deal with my shit, whether that's in therapy or meditation or writing or just fucking dealing with it and being like, man, this sucks, but I'm going to do it because I know it's what I need to do. I think sometimes we just simply do it as a coping mechanism. So first of all, establishing why are you doing this? Like what are you looking for in doing this? Are you looking for validation? Are you looking to just numb out? Are you looking for a confirmation bias? Are you just looking for somebody to make you feel a little bit less alone? Not that those things are all bad. You just have to be very, very cautious of your intentions and who you're doing those things with. A couple things that you want to be aware of in this situation. Number one, I would tattoo this on my forehead if I was that type of person. Go to therapy. You need therapy. You need somebody who is not biased in your life. You need somebody who is educated, knows about mental health, knows how we work in different ways, whether that's childhood trauma or psychology or, you know, trauma responses, or I don't even know, take all of the therapy words and put them together in a big word cloud. And that's what you need, is somebody who knows all of those things. You don't need fucking Brenda from high school that's like, yeah, bitch, you could do so much better. There's so many hot guys. That is not what you need. You need a therapist. Number one, first and foremost. Number two, you need to start writing stuff down. You need to allow yourself the time and the space to process outside of other people. I'm sure your therapist will tell you this too. Have you journaled? Have you written this down? Have you thought about this? Have you meditated on it? Have you spent some time alone? Probably not. You probably haven't done those things. I think it's really, really important that before we go and dish all of the tea to everybody else, drink up, that we are focusing on like, what am I actually thinking? What is my current headspace? One of the things that happens when we don't prioritize our thoughts is we start a gossip spiral, and we start this like circle of other people talking to other people. And this happened in my life. I told somebody something, they said to somebody else in confidence, and that's the rest is history, right? And what happens is your kids will hear this stuff. Your kids will catch wind and be like, so-and-so at school said their mom was talking to so-and-so, or this person heard this. And the minute that happens, you have now created a full cycle of drama for your children. And they're going to, all that does is create more pain and trauma for them in their life. And they're already going through something really painful, likely if you're going through a separation or divorce. Just remember something. If you are talking about your spouse to somebody else, that's your kid's other parent. to you, it might be the person you're divorcing or the person you're separated from or your husband that's been a total asshole or whatever. Your kids don't care about that. They care that that's their dad or that's their mom. That is their parent, okay? And there is nothing more sacred than to protect that for your kids. They get to make up their own mind. When they're old enough, they get to make up their own mind about that person. And maybe that person has healed. I know in my scenario, my husband is a completely different person than he used to be and has done a lot of work to redeem himself in the eyes of our children. And I couldn't be more grateful than that. If I'm out on the town slandering his name, that is not going to do my kids any good because chances are they're going to hear about it, number one. But number two, like they're going to then say like, well, why does she feel that way? And whether that makes you look really bad in front of your kids or that other parent, like that's a lose-lose situation. Your kid, the goal here is that our kids love their parents, right? Obviously, like this goes without saying, but there's, some credentials here. Like we're not telling our kids to love like a monster of a person. But anyways, that's beside the point. I think it's important that we understand that anything we're saying about our spouse is going to be our kids are going to be affected by that. I think that you have to really prioritize who you're talking to, what you're talking about, what business can be handled behind closed doors, whether it's with you alone or with your therapist or with those really few close, intimate friends. And beyond that, I think while it's very tempting to tell stories and it's really funny sometimes and people love to hear things, there's just not, you have to look at that situation and say, what is the positive that comes from this? What is this getting me? Here's the thing. Are you taking any of those people's advice or are you going to do exactly what you thought you were going to do initially in this situation? You're going to get to the place where your gut is going to lead you to where you need to be. And it's likely not because your friend from, the one of your kids' mom's friends told you this, or somebody out at a bar one night said something that where you were like, yes, that's the answer I've been looking for my whole life. No, that is not going to happen. It's because you've done the work. You've searched inside of yourself. You've gone to therapy. You've written things out. You've processed the pain. You've worked through the grief. You've done the work. There is a real thing in all of divorce and separation that has to happen, and it's work. We cannot expect to skirt around something or talk our way out of something. We have to walk through all of this. And that involves one person and one person only, and it's simply you. So bringing a bunch of people into this is only going to cloud your judgment. It's going to confuse you. It's going to bring in a lot of unnecessary chatter in your brain. I can tell you right now, when I look back at my separation and my divorce, I remember exactly who said what, whether it was about my husband, whether it was about me, whether it was about our marriage, our kids. You don't forget those things. There are friendships that I lost because of this. I had a friend that was like, oh, you're moving to Nashville because you're having a full affair. I'm like, lady, I have 5 children. I live clear across the country, like in multiple jobs. In what way, shape, or form would I have just decided to pack my entire family, including my husband, up to move across the country for an affair? People say wild things, and that's likely their own projection or their own shit or whatever. And if you're opening yourself up to that, you have to realize that's a very real possibility. The best way to avoid those kinds of things is to not open yourself up to that by not dishing unnecessary gossip, saying things that aren't really going to get you to the end goal. One thing that I learned in this process was instead of talking all the time, observing. I learned so much from going out for a girls' night, right? This is where this is the hotbed of gossip and the epitome of drama. Everybody wants to talk about everybody's shit. And instead of for a very long time, I did show up to those things and I was like, all right, well, here's the latest in the divorce drama. And people would be drooling over what I was saying. Not because it was anything riveting, but it's just different than their own scenario in life. What I quickly realized was that path is futile. That's getting me nowhere except for top of the gossip circle. And what I realized that would serve me better and help bringing me clarity and helping me in this god-awful journey that I was going through was listening to other people talk about their lives and observing other people's marriages and watching how other people do things. And then you realize oh, I want to emulate that situation, or I want my life to look like this person's life, or I want my marriage to feel like this, how this person describes their marriage. And that's actually what ended up leading me to my decision I left my marriage, was I don't feel validated or valued. These women, I was listening to them and they were speaking so highly of their spouses, and they were talking like with pride about their marriages. And I was like, holy shit, like I don't feel that way. I don't have that. And that to me was way, way, way more powerful than hearing everybody bitch about all their drama. And we all have shit in our lives. We all have, marital troubles and relationship issues and parenting this and that. But like all that does is lead to more complaining and more bitching and more drama and more gossip and more tea. And I truly was like, wow, I have learned so much by listening to these women say, my husband does this, or wow, this has like changed our life. We really are focusing on this. So instead of getting in that negative cycle, sit and listen to people who are talking highly of things, and you will either quickly see like, oh, I really believe that my husband and I can get to that place, and like this is what I need to be communicating, or holy shit, there's some real holes here, and this is something that I've been asking for a long time, and I see now that it is possible, and this is a real thing, and people do feel this way about their spouses. And that in and of itself gives you so much more clarity than just talking about shit. At the end of the day, I think it's really important to be vulnerable and to open up to people and to share wisely with the people that you've chosen to share with. But if you're not setting expectations with those people and boundaries and trusting that they're in the arena with you, they're here whether it's rain or shine, they're here whether you choose to stay or whether you choose to go, and they're going to support you regardless and not say things that could be hurtful or tarnish that relationship long term, you're better off keeping your mouth shut and not saying anything and just observing and listening and doing the internal work to process those things. This is not easy, and it's not like an overnight, like, I'm just going to shut my mouth and not say anything. It takes work, because there is a very real human temptation to just tell everybody what's going on in your life because it feels good when it's validated. It's like it scratches that itch. But I am here to tell you, it doesn't help. It actually makes things worse. And there is a much clearer path than that. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram @KendraForNow. See you next time.